Hi, everybody. Judy Seeker here, your host for the Women's Wellness Reset Retreat. So happy to have you on another episode. And as always, we have someone who is an expert in sleep. Ladies, if you're having trouble falling asleep, waking up in the middle of the night and can't fall back to sleep, wondering why you're waking up feeling grumpy and irritable and ready to bite somebody's head off, we got you, because Annika Carroll from Canada is in the house. Annika, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Judy. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, we've done a number of projects today and we always have fun. And I love the topic because I slept, I'm almost 65, and I slept like a baby in my teens, 20s, and then what is this hormonal thing? What in the world happened? And stress of work and stress of a bad marriage, all these things. And then I have had struggles with sleep issues. So when I found you, I think it's been a couple of years now, I was like, oh my gosh, I've learned so much. And I applied the things you've taught us. And I really have noticed a huge, huge difference. So I'm excited that you get to share this with everybody here. It's going to be awesome. So first things first, I know you, but not everybody else knows you, Annika. So why don't you share a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you got into this sleep stuff?
Oh, yeah, thank you. I'll do that. So, my name is Annika Carroll. I'm originally from Germany. You might still hear that once in a while. Moved to Canada about 3 years ago. I have a background of multiple burnouts. I used to work in human resources at Johnson & Johnson, so big corporate job. Kind of burnt myself out there a little. Tried to get better with the help of doctors. Didn't really make any progress. Moved to Canada, burned out again. And then I was like, you know what, I'm kind of done with this. And I used to sleep, like you said, like a baby. And when I was burned out, I couldn't sleep. And that didn't make any sense to me because I was like, I'm fried. My body has just let go, but I cannot sleep. I was up from like 1 to 4 every night for months on end. And that caused anxiety, that caused panic attacks. It was the whole big thing. And I finally found somebody, a functional practitioner who kind of helped me dissect everything that was going on in my gut, that was going on with my hormones. And then I started digging into this and I was like, I need to learn about this. At that point, I had quit my job. I'd already become a nutritionist. And I was like, no, I'm going to go further. I want to go into this functional health space. This is really what I feel like I have a story. I fixed myself. And then this sleep thing was still kind of lingering. And then I learned a lot more about that, about circadian health, your sleep-wake cycle, all those things. And I was like, this is what I want to do. I see so many women struggle with sleep, with burnout, with energy, like women waking up in the morning and are already overwhelmed and don't even know how to make it through the day. And we can change that. And so that's like my big thing now, that I'm helping women just to have energy to sleep and to not have this overwhelm.
Yeah, and it's so, so needed, especially nowadays. It's crazy. So let's just dive in and talk about. So you already mentioned quite a few things. I have too. The hormonal issue, work burnout. But why else do you think women are not sleeping well? Like, are you seeing like a pattern of right now why women are not sleeping well?
Yes. And I think the overall theme is always stress.
Yeah.
But stress, I think, for a lot of us means mental stress. And that, I think, is a very minimalistic view of how sleep works and why we might not be sleeping. Yes, we could be doing everything for everybody, starting to take care of our parents who might be aging and getting sick, working, maybe have children who might be older, who are also struggling with certain things in their lives, maybe health, maybe divorces, might be going through a divorce ourselves, all these things, right? There's a lot going on in life, throw a pandemic in the mix of everything. And then you have a total disaster. And that is partially, yes, there's a lot of mental stress that we, as women, I think sometimes don't have tools or don't use tools to deal with very well. But if that goes on for too long, this becomes a physical issue. This starts affecting our gut health. And a lot of people might have heard about the gut microbiome, how a leaky gut, those kinds of things. I see that a lot in women. Once we have that going on for a little longer, that affects our hormones, our estrogen, progesterone. They really don't like stress. So it becomes a whole cascade of things. And the longer this has been going on, the more of a puzzle we have and pieces that we need to work on. But I think it's really this overall, we don't look after ourselves.
Well, yeah, and the stress
Right?
issue. Yeah, I loved how you said that. I really didn't think about that. See, again, I learned something from you every time. So it's not just mental stress, it's the stress of everything that's going on. And we need to look at all that. But in this particular talk, we're going to deep dive into as much as we can with you in a short time. And then if you guys have questions, listen, Annika is more than willing to answer your questions. We're going to do Facebook Lives. Just get on and ask her questions because she's really got it figured out. So you came up with something called sleep hygiene. And I really want people to understand that because that is so something nobody has heard of and so important for us to understand. Like we know bodily hygiene and all these, mouth hygiene and all these things, but sleep hygiene. So why don't you go ahead and explain that to us so that the women are like, oh, sleep hygiene. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, well, sleep hygiene is actually a term you find out there quite a bit right now, but people don't really always know what it is. So I actually had somebody ask me the other day, does that mean I have to change my sheets on a regular basis? Yes, but that is not what we refer to as sleep hygiene. With sleep hygiene, what we mean is how do you structure your day, including your evening, to set yourself up for a good night's sleep? And what are classic things that you hear? Classic things that are linked to sleep hygiene would be turning your phone off an hour or two before you go to bed, keeping your bedroom really dark, quiet, and cool, because that is the environment that our body generally needs to be able to fall asleep. Don't go to the last minute at night, stress yourself, and then try to go to bed. Like have a bit of a wind down. That can be a routine, or that can just be something that you give yourself space at night to decompress a little and then be able to not stress to fall asleep. Those are basic tools when we talk about sleep hygiene. I think one thing that I like to talk about in terms of sleep hygiene, to me, sleep hygiene is not just the part that happens right before you go to bed. And it's not just the get off the phone, have a bath, journal. It starts earlier. For me, it starts in the morning. Because how you start your day is how you're going to sleep at night. So should we dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, I was just like, so that's so important. I was just like taking notes because I forget to start in the morning. And I know that that's something you've been teaching for a long time. And I think that's why I do the interviews. So I learn again and get reminded because it is so important to do it throughout the day. Everybody who is a sleep expert talks about, oh yeah, the 1 or 2 hours before bed. And we will talk about that and some practical things, but it really starts from the first thing in the morning. So yes, let's go into what do we do? What are some practical things the women could do throughout the day that is super easy and that it makes it better so that they sleep and have a refreshing sleep?
Yeah. So the first thing really is when you wake up, get sunlight in your eyes within the first 30 minutes of waking up. What do I mean by that? Open your blinds and open your window all the way so you can see natural light, or sit on your porch, or take your dog around a quick walk around the block. If you don't have a dog, take yourself for a quick walk around the block. Expose yourself to natural light. And why is this so important? Because our body follows what's called a circadian rhythm. And that's our sleep-wake cycle. So we should be awake when the sun's up, and we should be asleep when the moon's up. And our body only knows what time it is by getting a light signal into our eyes that then gets into our brain, and there is a master clock, and that sets everything in our body when hormones should be released, when we should digest, all that kind of stuff. And it needs light, and it needs natural light. And we're exposed to so much artificial light now with screens, with LED lights, with everything that we have, right? All day, we don't spend a lot of time outside. So getting this morning light consistently for a few weeks will really help reset your circadian rhythm, your sleep-wake cycle, to where you want it to be. And your body then sees that light in the morning and says, oh, it's morning. I'm going to release my cortisol, which is your awake hormone, gets you energy for the day, and it automatically sets the next hormone, which is melatonin, your sleepy hormone, for in 14 to 16 hours. It sets the timer and knows, oh, then that's when we're going to really release that, and that's when we're going to want to go to sleep. So it's a free thing.
So let's just
do.
get practical, because you're in Canada, girl, and I was in Wisconsin 20. It's cold, okay? So I would go out in the middle of the day when it warmed up a little bit, not much, and try to get some sunlight and fresh air. But you're saying that it's really important to do it first thing in the morning when the sun wakes up, which is, I don't know, up there, it's like 9 o'clock in the morning is a crazy.
It's a bit of that's right. It's easier to do that in the summer than in the winter.
But it's important still to go out
It's
there
still
and
important.
do it if you want to sleep better. So
Absolutely.
you're saying that all throughout the year, it is important for that first 30 minutes, no sunglasses, no nothing, just get out there. And it's not like you have to look at the sun. It's not what you're saying. It's just that you have to be out in the sun. Now, if it's a cloudy day, doesn't matter.
You still go out.
Still go out. Got it. 30 minutes first thing in the morning, get out there. And then you're getting the fresh air too. So that's a really nice habit. But if you have kids, and I know you have kids, and when I had kids, like I didn't, like you're getting breakfast together for them and
whatnot. You can't, you don't have that, right? How are we going to fit this all in? And it's even now that winter comes, it's getting light later, and it might not kind of fit in your morning. And being in Canada, what I always suggest for people who live in those areas where it just doesn't work, get yourself what's called a happy light. It's a lamp you can buy in the big online stores for not very much money. They kind of look a little like an iPad. They have to have at least 10,000 lux. That's the brightness of the light. And then you put that next to you. Don't look at it, but put that next to you 15, 20 minutes in the morning. And you can even, while you're making breakfast, it could sit next to you and shine that light on you from the side. You will see a huge difference in your energy and in your mood and in your sleep.
So Annika, does that have something to do with so many, and it was a big trend years ago, and I don't hear much about it anymore, but the seasonal disorder syndrome, yes, where people get depressed in the winter, they put on more weight, they don't feel good, but this light would help that then, correct?
Absolutely. That's what they were originally intended for. And a lot of times you see them either as a happy light or as a seasonal affective disorder lamp or therapy lamp, but they all serve the same purpose. They give your body the light that is not there in the winter.
Yeah, and so that is so important, is that you could go out in the fresh air sunlight for 30 minutes first thing in the morning, but if you cannot, do the light, but don't rely on it all the time, because as soon as the weather gets better, get yourself out there, right?
Absolutely.
It's so easy to just, I'm just going to do my 30-minute lights and whatever. Listen, the fresh air and sunshine is still really good. So that's an awesome practical tip. Absolutely love that. Give us one more, and then we're going to deep dive in a couple other things. So the things what I want you to share, Annika, with everybody is, what are the practical things? So getting up in the morning is awesome. What else can we do?
One thing that I hear a lot from women specifically is when they go to bed at night, they hit the pillow and their brain starts turning on, and they start thinking, right? And they can't fall asleep. So why does that happen? That, and a lot of times happens because we haven't given ourselves any free time throughout the day to just shut our brains off and give our brains time to think. It's like, even if I have, and I catch myself doing it all the time, if I have 5 minutes for myself, what do? I grab my phone and I start scrolling social media. And you know what I do? That's still input to the brain, right? All the time, the brain's processing, while things that might have annoyed me that day, frustrated, whatever, worried, that gets suppressed because I keep my brain occupied with input from other things. So what we should be doing is take those 5 minutes, maybe after lunch, for yourself. Go outside quickly for another 5 minutes, get some more of that light signal, and just have space in your brain and your body to feel where you're at, and just let these thoughts come in and it'll be fine. Or give yourself the same time every day, not too close to sleep, so maybe like 5, 6, 7 p.m., where you really worry about things, or where you really think about things that you need to process. Because if you train your brain that it happens all the time, that you have a consistent, what I call worry time, it will not worry when you go to bed. And if you give your brain the opportunity to actually process stuff throughout the day, it doesn't have to do that the first time it gets quiet in your day, when you hit the pillow at 10, 10:30, 11 p.m., because that's when we really don't want it to happen.
Right. And so that is something I taught in my clinic as well, is everybody take time for yourself in the day. But as busy mothers, we're working, we got all these things going on. It's hard, but I always used to say, if you don't take time now, it's going to catch up with you and you have consequences, right? So what happens is a lot of women get their little, I should have bought my wine glass. They have their wine at night and think that's going to relax them. And then they go with their little drink and think, oh, it's red wine, it's good for me. It's like, no, honey, that is not good for you. So let's dive into the wine, the sugar, we reach for comfort food and all these things. Let's dive into that a little bit, because a lot of women are under the misconception that wine helps them relax so they sleep better, which is not true. But explain to us, about the wine, the sugar, and other things that could really affect the sleep pattern for women and then get them on the right track.
Yeah, and that's a big one. You're right. Like, a lot of women say, I need that glass of wine at night to decompress. Everybody's taken care of. That's my me time. I need that glass. And there are studies that have shown, yes, women particularly fall asleep faster when they drink a glass of red wine. But your sleep gets sacrificed down the road, because your deep sleep is really negatively impacted when you drink wine. So you might fall asleep faster. That whole brain thing might be easier to deal with, but down the road, in the middle of the night, you're actually starting to sacrifice your sleep, and you're actually going to be way more tired in the morning. So that is generally not a good idea. Why wine can also not be a good idea is, well, our body detoxes the entire time, all day, but overnight there's a specific window. It's generally between 1 and 4-ish, where the liver really, from a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, the liver is really active, and the liver really cleans your body, which is really important, because we get exposed to so many toxins every day, all day, and we just need to clean that out of the system. So the liver does this amazing job in the middle of the night. And if we put alcohol into the body, the liver is on high alert, because the liver knows that is a toxin to the body. Alcohol is a toxin. And when it gets broken down, it becomes temporarily even more toxic until we get rid of it. So the body is on high alert, and the liver says, oh, everything else that has piled up throughout the day, your herbicides, your pesticides, your cosmetic products, your cleaning products, whatever you're using that has toxicity in it, kind of gets queued up behind the alcohol, because the alcohol is going to be in the number one spot in the queue, so the liver can detoxify it and get it out of the body as quickly as possible. All this other stuff piles up. If we do that consistently, because we have that glass of red wine as our habit at night, our liver gets really burdened. It struggles to detoxify all this stuff. And then this all backs up in your body. And then you might be somebody who's doesn't have bowel movements all the time, so that stuff doesn't come out. Your hormones are going all over the place, and you're like, I wonder what's going on. And this is all, and a lot of women, we don't know this because we haven't been taught that this is all interconnected. And so a glass of wine, and I'm like all for living a fun and good life. So would I say don't drink alcohol ever? No, I wouldn't say that. I would say don't have it every day. I personally don't believe that's a good thing. I don't think the body can deal with that. And if you want to have a glass of wine, have it earlier in the night. Have it like 5, 6 o'clock, ideally with food, with your dinner. It just makes everything more easily for the body to handle, and you have more time till you go to bed. So part of that detoxing has already happened, and you'll have a better sleep, and you just feel better.
So Annika, I'm really glad that you explained how it affects all these other aspects of your body, your gut health, your hormone health, all those things really does get affected. I will just say to everybody is that, listen, if you really want good health, stop with the alcohol completely. Yeah, I do say that because I just find that I don't like pain. I don't like to be sick. I don't like all these things happening to my body. So I just decided, I think I drink maybe once a month now. That's about it. Yeah, I've really cut down. Not that I was a big drinker before, but that's the level of quality of health that I want. Now, a lot of women will say, hey, but like you said, they want to have fun, they want to go out. Look at cutting down, not every night, but just once or twice a week, and then once or twice every 2 weeks. Like, it's not something that is going to really make you feel good in the long run, especially the older you get. So I'm really glad that you made that connection so that the women understand all of that, because they do wonder, why do I have hormone issues? Like, well, chickadee, it's because you're having a lot of alcohol that you don't think is affecting you, but it is. So let's step into the sugar aspect and all, like, especially when you're tired. Oh my goodness. I love you're European and so am I. Love chocolate. Love chocolate.
Yeah.
So we reach for the comfort food when we're tired, when we're stressed, when things are not going well. So how does that affect sleep though? Right? Because women understand. They know that sweets and sugar and processed foods affect weight. But what is the connection with sleep? Explain that, and then let's talk about what can be done.
Yeah. So maybe let me quickly dive into with the weight, because you were just saying that. So there are studies that have shown people who sleep 5 hours or less a night versus people who sleep 6.5 or more hours tend to consume about 400 calories a day more.
Wow.
Like, that is insane. Do that for a month. Over the course of a year, you're putting on weight, right? And we all know the older we get, the harder it's going to be to lose this weight, because we become more resistant to maybe carbohydrate metabolism. We can't use food as well potentially anymore.
I have a question on that, Annika. So if they're sleeping 5 hours, maybe that, because I was having weight issues during menopause changeover. So 5 hours and then it's 400 calories more. Is it because you're tired and you're reaching for food more?
Yeah, there's two reasons with this, and that's where this sleep weight loss challenge comes in. The one thing is you're really tired and your body wants energy.
Right.
Like, you've basically been up for a significant portion of 24 hours, right? You're using more calories than if you were sleeping. So the body is reaching for energy and for quick energy. And we do have two hormones in the body. They're called leptin and ghrelin, and they kind of control your hunger and how full you feel. And they normally kind of work like a seesaw quite well. When you're really hungry, one goes up. When you're really satiated, the other one goes up, and it kind of signals the brain, oh, stop eating or go grab some food. Now, this mechanism really gets messed up if you don't sleep well. And so I know we kind of keep beating ourselves up about this, about the reaching for the muffin and the reaching for the donut, but it's almost a chemical reaction in the body that you can't control other than sleep, or then consciously be aware of it and make really smart food choices. But if you're somebody who struggles with sleep, just really be aware that this is a mechanism that's happening in your body. And then if you don't actively work against that, you're always going to start reaching for the carbs, because that's what the body wants, really quick energy. And that is what eventually ends up everywhere on the body when we don't want.
Yeah, for sure. It becomes a real cycle, and it's so frustrating. So when they have craving, because that's what I hear all the time, women have these strong sugar cravings, right? And they're looking for ways like, okay, how do I cut back, not only for weight loss, but now that they understand it's for sleep as well? Is there things that they could do that you find work to help them so they could cut back and not worry so much about reaching for that sugar?
Yes. There's multiple things. The first thing I would say, make sure you are hydrated, that you drink enough clean water, because a lot of times we reach for food when we're actually thirsty. The other thing is, I like to start women off in the morning with a really protein-rich breakfast.
Yep.
So not your oatmeal with blueberries, but think more brunch type food, like maybe eggs with veggies, or chicken with veggies, or if you like beef, like a burger patty with some, making this up, some avocado, some bok choy sauteed, something like that. Like more what we would think lunch or dinner these days, but move that forward with a good amount of protein, some healthy fat, so some avocado, some olives, that kind of stuff, to be really satiated. to actually have energy, because then your body can carry you and it doesn't have these dips in your blood sugar all the time that make you reach for the sweet stuff over and over and over again, or make you need that coffee.
Yeah,
And
100%.
because all these things are just like spiraling, and they're messing up your sleep and they're messing up your health.
Yeah, and I love that. And I love that you shared that I switched over a long time ago to the protein fat breakfast. But to what I've learned, and let's see, what tip do you have, is that when I first turned over to a high protein breakfast versus a high carb breakfast, like the oatmeal, a perfect example, gosh, that is so typical, right? Is to have a protein smoothie. Right. So to me, it was easy, right? It was like, and it was easy on my digestive system. So just a little plant-based milk, flax milk, almond milk, whatever. I had a little protein smoothie. I add my raw cacao powder because I like my chocolate, and a little, fresh fruit, just little raspberries, not much, just a little bit. Oh my gosh, I felt so satisfied. I felt better. My energy throughout the morning was better. Did I have a little bit of eggs later? Yeah, if I was hungry, but that satisfaction was so good. And then sometimes I put a nut butter in there, a little teaspoon. That was helpful. Are you finding the same, like the smoothie versus having an actual meal? Because I know a lot of women are like, listen, having eggs first thing in the morning, when I'm not a morning person, I just, you could hear them already complaining.
Yeah, and it is, especially if you haven't done it, it is a bit of something. It's a change. Is a smoothie a great idea? Yes, I would say, if it's something you can handle. I see a lot of women where this raw type stuff can also be a problem, but if you can handle a smoothie, for sure. Or if it's, for me personally, it's something, I love my smoothies in the like more summer times, but being in Canada, come winter, I just can't do them because it's too cold. It's really, I cannot have a cold drink in the morning. I need
I put it room temperature. No,
yeah.
I'm with you. I don't do anything cold. I think I got ruined from being in Wisconsin 20 years. It was the same thing. So I leave my milk out. So I wake up and I'm just like you, I like taking my time starting the day, but I leave the milk out so it's room temp, and that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Don't use anything that's cold. It really helps. So that's a great point. So Annika, as far as really understanding the side effects of not sleeping, I think women think, oh, if I just take a sleeping pill or I just do a few things, I'm going to sleep better. But there's some major side effects that you and I are both seeing when women are not sleeping well. And you touched on them, but let's deep dive a little bit. What are some of the really major hitters you're seeing when people are not sleeping well at night?
We'll go into that. There's one thing I want to pick on what you just said with the sleeping pill. If you take, and I see clients all the time who want to come off sleeping pills, who have been having sleeping pills and I still have sleep troubles. You don't sleep. If you take a sleeping pill, you're not sleeping. Yeah. You are like nauseated, or like it's like a half sleep. This is not restful sleep. This is just to help you keep your eyes shut and not freak out about the fact that you're not sleeping.
Don't you find that with melatonin too? Like I get sick if I take melatonin, and
I find that really depends on the person. I have people where it works really well, and I have people who take extremely high doses sometimes. And it's an antioxidant, right? The body makes it, it's super important. But for a lot of people, the supplement doesn't work, and it gives you a hangover the next day and you're kind of brain fogged, and it's just not, it doesn't have any benefits to how you're already feeling because you're not sleeping, right? So, but sleeping pills really is something, it's a crutch. It doesn't work. And for sure, it doesn't work long-term. There's really anybody who's on it for longer periods of time where it actually works.
Right.
And what do we see with people who are sleep deprived? Well, the one thing is, like we've already talked, is this: you're not emotionally regulated, because when you sleep enough, your emotions become regulated. You don't need to snap at everybody. You're more patient. The other thing is memory consolidation. If you're learning something or you're taking something in and you don't sleep, your brain doesn't process it. It doesn't get stored in your long-term memory. This is something really important. This is why also when kids don't sleep, we see school issues, we see attention issues sometimes, right? It's, in a lot of cases, this has to do with improper sleep. There's a lot of the like emotional components, the overwhelm, the anger, the frustration, that kind of stuff, but there are physical components to not sleeping.
Yeah.
And then there's more and more studies. One came out the other day, your risk of cardiovascular disease goes up significantly. Obesity is linked to sleep issues, all those kinds of things. Alzheimer's is even, right? We're cleaning the brain out when we sleep. If we don't sleep enough, this has been linked to sleep issues, that a lot of these everyday diseases that we see today that are significant, but they're very common, like your dementia, your Alzheimer's, your
and it's scary because you're a young sprout, but I'm getting up there now. And I worry about dementia, and a lot of women are, they're worried about memory loss, brain fog, dementia. And when you're not sleeping well, it's horrible. So if they're sleeping well, when they get this down and they're increasing it to 7 hours, 8 hours of a good solid sleep, is it helping? Do you see that in the long run, as far as the benefits of sleeping well, that does their weight really go down? Does their energy go up? Does their memory get really better? And how long does it take before they see those kind of results?
It is very individual. I would say the point of having more energy, having clear thinking, being alert and on the ball very quickly. Some people, I think we get people's energy up, I would say, in about 2 to 4 weeks.
Wow.
Then sometimes actual sleeping takes a little longer, depending on how long you've already not slept. So that I would say anywhere between 2 and 4 months. Weight loss is always very individual because it really depends on where it's coming from, right? To me, weight loss in a lot of cases is just a symptom of something else. In a lot of cases, it's inflammation in the body, where the body holds on to cortisol, and that overall causes and slows down metabolism and causes this problem. So when we get them to sleep, a lot of them drop weight. Sometimes they don't as quickly as they want because the thyroid might be off, or there might be other things going on, right? So weight loss is very individual, I would say, but I see all my women have more energy, make better food choices.
And within a short amount of time, that's what's so exciting working with you. Within a couple of weeks, they see their energy increase. And see, that's very realistic. It takes a good couple months before you get your sleep cycle. There's no quick fixes here, people. It takes a little bit of work. And Annika guides people down that path. So Annika, let's talk a bit about if somebody's like, oh my gosh, I need to sleep better. I'm dragging, the weight's on, I don't feel good. What does it take to work with you? What kind of programs do you have, and how do you work with people so they get those kind of benefits of sleeping better?
Well, I work with people one-on-one only. It's always one-on-one coaching for 6 months. Because that's what we found. Most people need less, but I want them to have the opportunity. So what I do is I run a bunch of functional tests on the client. I run a gut test, I run sex hormone tests, I run a thyroid lab, I run a hair tissue analysis to look at your minerals and your nutrition. Are you actually taking in everything that you're eating? Is your body using it? Are you lacking certain things? Do you have heavy metals? We look at food sensitivities. And then we put a protocol together just for you based on all these results to make sure we get your body out of a chronic inflamed state, get your thyroid up and running so your body's functioning optimally. And then we also look into, how do you handle stress? What does your day look like? What are 24 hours in your life? What are you doing there that sabotages your sleep and your energy? And how can we streamline that, optimize that without turning everything on its head, ideally, because that can be a little overwhelming, but just making small changes here and there and giving you tools to handle everything better so that you can you do this successfully by yourself. My goal is always to really educate women on what's going on in their bodies so they can eventually self-advocate. And when you go to the doctor and they say everything's normal, you know better because you know yourself and you understand your body better and can really self-advocate and find solutions, and then have the tools in place to just really make a change in your lifestyle. Because if you're not sleeping now and this has been going on for a while, we can't just do one thing and you'll sleep better. It's a puzzle of things that we have to look at, and this becomes a habit. A lot of my clients say, yes, the first few weeks is like, oh, she's really like asking me everything and we're looking at everything, but very quickly it becomes a habit. And because you see you're feeling better, you have energy, you actually have energy to start exercising or at least go out for walks or things like that, right? It just all adds up in small pieces and eventually makes a really nice big picture, and people just feel a lot better, sleep a lot better, and
yeah,
are
and there's a
happier.
lot of programs, and a lot of the speakers here have group sessions for different things, which is fine. Group sessions you could do for certain conditions, but sleep, it's such an individualized thing. And I'm
Yeah.
really, really happy to hear that you're still doing the testing, because it is important to figure out maybe there is something else underlying. You have to look at the whole picture. So you're very thorough. And I want everybody to know how thorough you are, because as you go into that deep dive into the testing and see the results, then you could pinpoint where people can make the changes and get results quickly. I don't know anybody else who's doing that, right? They're all
No, I
putting in
think
the
from a
glucose.
sleep, yeah, and from a sleep perspective specifically, a lot of people just do the what's called cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia.
Right.
And that's great. And that helps you with all the anxiety and everything. But so many women come to me and say, you know what, I've actually been to therapy, I've done all kinds of things, I can manage my anxiety, but I'm still not sleeping. There's something physically wrong, but my doctor says my labs are normal. Yes, because they just look at certain things, and you know that for sure. So, and then we dig deeper, and we always find things. Most of women's guts are a disaster. Our hormones are in a lot of cases all over the place. And that's why we feel like that. We're just being dismissed by the system, that there's nothing there. And in a lot of cases there is. And once we address it,
Yeah,
we
and
get
that's the
better.
thing, it's not in our head. It's really something going on. And listen, ladies who are on here, talk to Annika. She's happy to talk to you and just see if it's a good fit. She's very cool. I wouldn't send you to anybody who's going to make you feel bad. She's really cool. She cares, right? And the thing is because she has this comprehensive program and she's got tons of experience now, you're going to see results. And sleep is just so important. Like I don't even have anybody else that I work with that's on my team. I refer everybody with sleep issues to Annika because it works. Her system works, and you're going to get results. So call her, find out, hey, are we vibing? Is this cool? I know you will, but just talk to her and then say, okay, let's get this fixed. And I want you to understand a gold nugget that Annika dropped. Once you learn the habits and understand what your root issues are, all you have to do is do it. She doesn't want you forever. You could be friends forever, but she does not want you as a client forever. A lot of these people want you on there forever, and it's no. Annika's not like that. She wants to help you solve the problem, go through it, and you're done. And then you just got to keep practicing. That's it. That's really what it comes down to. So she's very honest and very open about that. And I want you to understand that this is a understanding your root, fixing it, and then putting it as a habit. In fact, Annika doesn't know this, but I have not done the morning thing, walking out in this, and I'm in Florida for Pete's sake. So she's reminded me again. So of course now what the difference is, I have to put in my calendar, set my alarm, and say, okay, sunrise is at 7 o'clock. I'm going to go outside because Annika said that works. Okay, I'm going to go do that. Right? It's those little things that add up. And I want you guys to know that it's not super complicated, but you do have to be consistent, right?
That's the thing. You have to be consistent. And yes, does our body resist change in the beginning?
Yes.
Yes, right? It's trying to protect you from something new, but we have to make that first step.
Yeah.
And making a few changes in your lives. That's why why working with coaches is so valuable, because we're here to cheer you on,
right,
to hold you accountable. And when it gets tougher, because your brain says, no, do you really want, I don't want to go outside, that we're here to help you through it, to build those habits and create that new lifestyle.
Yeah, I love that. And you're an awesome coach. And so I'm just excited that you were able to give this interview and show people what you're all about. So contact Annika. We're going to have the link below. Plus, she'll be on Facebook Live to answer your questions. So we're excited about that. bottom line is you gotta sleep well, my friends. Let's get you in on that. Okay, Annika, so that was fun. Let's get into a little playtime and get to know you a little bit better. Do you want to have a little game with us?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So these are just simple questions. Just answer the first thing that comes off the
Mhm.
top of your head. Number one is, what is your most favorite food that you would love to eat for the rest of your life?
Avocados.
She didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's a great answer because avocados you could put in smoothies, you could have a plain, you could have guacamole. It's a versatile thing. Oh, that's a smart answer. Okay, which do you love more, dogs or cats?
Dogs. I'm allergic to cats.
Oh, okay. What do you prefer more, sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise. I'm absolutely a morning person.
Yeah, I am too. What is the most relaxing thing you love to do?
The most relaxing thing I love to do, I have like a sauna blanket. I don't know if people know that. It's like if you don't have space for a sauna, you can buy these infrared sauna blankets. And I just love to lay in there 3-4 times a week at night, listen to a podcast,
Sauna
sweat.
blanket. Ooh,
Yeah,
I
and
like
then
it.
go to sleep after. I just love it.
Oh, we're gonna have to talk more about that. Who is your health specialist, leader, motivational speaker that you look up to?
Oh, there's quite a few, but I think one that I really, really enjoy listening to is Shawn Mendes,
Oh, okay.
the Model Health Show. I really like his way of dissecting studies and making it applicable to people.
So
He's
not
really
the singer Shawn Menendez. This is Shawn Mendes. I don't even know who this dude is. I'm gonna have to look him up. That's why I asked because I want to learn who you guys like. I
absolutely.
don't know everybody, and everybody else could be like, "Oh, that's somebody I could look up." That's awesome. And the last question is, what is the one message you would like to leave everyone with?
Really, I think ladies, take your health into your own hands. It's your responsibility. There is nobody who actually cares about it but you. And if you put yourself on the back burner all the time, you're the one who pays for this down the road. And we just need to not wait till we have lots of symptoms, but just create small habits to get through the days well, feel well, have good energy. Because all this, I'm exhausted, I'm overwhelmed. Yes, it's common, but it's not normal. We shouldn't be feeling like that.
Right. I love that. Thank you so much, Annika. It's always awesome to meet with you and have an interview with you because you have so much. And this is just like a tip of the iceberg. There's so much more. So we'll have to do this again for sure. But thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Judy.
Yeah. And all you guys who have been on here too, we appreciate each and every one of you. Take what Annika said, apply some of the things she already said, and then if you really need help, give her a call and just talk with her. It'd be awesome. I know that. So let's see you on the next episode and get you some more information so you could reset your life. Talk to you soon.